So today's date?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
All right, my name's Denise Finley, and today is 8/24/14.
Okay. So, Denise, thanks for telling me your story. I really appreciate it. I think that there's a lot of people that need to know or think that there's Sasquatch out there. It's nice to find people who are credible, that have had the experience, that could speak to it. And I know you've had a couple sightings, one in Macon, Georgia, and then also one here at Betty's Neck in Lakeville, Massachusetts. So why don't you take us through that night that you were with Michaela, set it up, why you were there,
all right,
what the Sasquatch was doing, yada, yada, yada. So take it away.
We originally started in Fairhaven, wasn't getting anything, so Michaela, myself, and Guy went to Betty's Neck. Okay. We get up there, and we went to go let the dogs out. So Tucker, he took off down the road, and Copper and Annie stayed with us. And like I wasn't even 5 minutes that we were there, the police pulled up. So the cop pulls up and he says, "Oh, you know, we got sensors and trail cams out here because we don't want the kids up here, and there's been a lot of stuff going on and whatever." So we were like, all right. So he's standing, but he wouldn't come away from his cruiser. He was standing right next to Cruiser, hand on his gun, but he wasn't looking at us. He was watching the tree line, and he was like, "Oh, so you guys are running dogs?" "Yep, we're running dogs." He's like, "All right, well, you guys should be all right. There's dogs there. You got dogs." So I was like, that's a little weird, you know. Why would he even say that? But all right, it's cool. Sure. So he leaves, and she's got the GPS on Tucker, so we're watching him, and Copper wouldn't leave, and Annie, she jumped back in the box all by herself. She didn't want to go in the woods, wouldn't want to go nowhere near the woods. So. Which is
abnormal for a coon dog?
Yeah, they normally will go out in the woods and just take off. So she jumped back in the truck, and we were standing there. We heard some crazy kind of noise going on. It to me was nothing I've ever heard, so it was different.
Can you describe the sound, or?
It's almost sounded like a screech owl, except for it was deeper. You know what I mean? Okay. But you know what I mean? You could tell it wasn't a screech owl, but it was something.
A little deeper. Okay.
Yeah, a little deeper. So, anyways, we were up there for a little bit, and then Guy decided he was going to go down fishing. So we were watching Tucker on the thing, and it said he was down further. So we decided we'd try. Or he was getting far away, so we were going to go down there and check him out. So we started going down, and he fell off the GPS system. We didn't know why, but he did. So then we were like, well, now we can't, track him, so we got to try and find him. So her and I go back up top. We get back up top, and I had to go to the bathroom. She had to go to the bathroom, so we get out. I go. She comes around and starts to go, and all of a sudden we hear this heavy coming through the woods.
So now you're back at the parking lot.
We're back up at the same spot where we let them out at, back up top of Betty's Neck.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So we hear this noise coming through the woods. She's like, "Oh, that might be Tucker." I go, "That is not Tucker," because no way. It was way too heavy to be Tucker. It wasn't a deer and it wasn't a bear, because I hunt. I know those sounds. It wasn't either or. Okay. So she comes running around the truck. I grab her head cam or her headlight thing and flash it over to the woods. And when we did, it was like at least, I would say, in between 8 to 10 feet tall.
Really?
It had to be. Yeah, and big, like broad. You know what I mean?
Big,
nothing. Yeah. It looked at us. We looked at it, and it just squatted down. I mean,
it wanted to hide.
Yeah, because we surprised it. I don't think it was expecting a bright light. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it thought it was safe in the shadows of the woods, not thinking that we would have a light. So then right then it was kind of weird. But then we sat there for a minute. We were both like, I go, "Did you see that?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "What was that?" Because when you first see it, you're like, "What is that?" You know what I'm saying? Right. And I was like, "Oh man, that was crazy," because it was brown, it was hairy. I mean, hairy. You could just see it. So then,
what kind of hair was it? Mangy, or was it clean?
It was like
hair?
No, it was like something like like furry, like scruffy, like sticking up. You know what I'm saying? Like not normal. Like a bear has a smooth coat.
Okay.
It's not like that. Not at all. Okay. So. Anyway, so we sat there for a minute, and the dog, they were both flipping out. So we turned around, we decided we were going to go back down the bottom, because we were both freaked out by what we had just saw anyways.
Sure.
So we decided to go back down the bottom. We go down the bottom. We had to keep going back up the top. So when we went back up the top again, neither one of us wanted to get out of the truck.
Sure.
So we rolled down the window. We were like calling for Tucker, but you could hear this thing. It was walking the perimeter, like if you've been up the parking lot, so you know it's an oval perimeter.
So it was walking around you?
Around in the woods.
After the sighting?
Yeah, wow. It was up there. So we had put Copper in the truck with us.
Okay.
So Copper was in the truck with us, and his hair was standing on end. He was growling at the woods, you know what I mean? The girl dog was in the back. She was growling. They were both growling.
Wow.
So we were like, and that just freaked me out. I was like,
Now, was it the same heavy footsteps around?
Yeah, going around.
So it wasn't like what you were hearing later could have been something skittering around back there?
This was purposely walking around, like from one side of the horseshoe shape to the other. You could hear it moving along the wood line, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Like just doing whatever it was doing. So.
Did you smell anything? And I don't want to put any ideas in your head, but did you at the top here?
No, because we were in the truck, so it really, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a big, I don't think I did, no.
Okay.
No, not so much.
Did it make any grunting sounds right then? Was there anything that you could, the reason I asked
there was
this
all
is
kinds of noise, like you'd hear it walking, and then you'd hear this, like it was like a deep, like a grumble, like a, you know what I mean, like in the woods, but nothing like, it didn't holler, it didn't yell, anything like that.
So
but
was it a mumbling or kind of a low?
Yeah, it was like a, you know what I mean, you hear footsteps, so.
Okay.
All right, so then we went back down the bottom to look for Tucker again, and normally Tucker is the type of dog wherever you cast him at, he comes back there. That's where he comes.
The
you know
starting
what I mean?
off point, the
so
casting
if you let him
point,
go, it doesn't matter where it is. He can run for 3 miles. That's where he's coming back.
Okay, yeah.
So we knew that, like, no matter what, even though he was off the GPS, that if he was coming back, he was coming back there.
Yeah.
So we had to keep going back up there as much as we didn't want to at that point, because we were a little like, I mean, I hunt, and I don't get freaked out by woods, dark, nothing, and that freaked me out. Like, it was weird. It was just really strange. So we went to go up there. Well, Tucker completely avoided going up to the top of the hill.
Okay.
He came completely around, like the outside of the bottom.
Okay.
Where he normally would have just ran straight up, because that's the way
made
he
the
came
shortest
out,
point
you know
between
what I mean?
two. Gotcha.
Yeah, he would not come in. And when we got him, we started calling him because we seen him coming, heard him coming through the woods. But at the same time, he was coming through the woods when we were coming down the hill slow. Whatever it was walking like coincided with us along when we were coming down. So I got out of the truck and opened the side door. That dog could not get in that truck.
So it was paralleling you.
Yes, as we were trying to find
Okay, I've heard that before. So as you're on the trail, it's kind of
coming
paralleling
with us, but a little bit behind us. When Tucker came in, I opened the side door. Tucker jumped in and cowered in the corner of the back.
How far in would you say
and
it was?
He doesn't even like to get in the back.
Yeah, I was going to get to that point in a second, but how far in would you think it was? 10 feet? 15, 20?
Maybe if you're lucky, like 10 feet. If I had to get, because the way you could hear the steps, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was close enough for you to hear it, like heavy steps.
Moonlight?
Yeah, it was, I don't know if it was a full moon or like a half moon. It was bright out.
Yeah.
It was bright out in the field. We were out in the field hollering for Tucker. So.
Now Tucker, is he your blue heeler? Is he the big lead dog?
He's the white and tan one out there.
Okay, so...
Like the black and tan one.
But he would normally just jump in the box.
Yeah, he doesn't ride in the back of the truck. And he jumped in the back of the truck and cowered in that
He broke
corner.
all the rules and was like, I don't care.
He was like,
do what you're gonna do. Do what you're gonna do. Interesting. Interesting. So, is there anything else? I know that you've had experiences in Macon, Georgia. I want to focus on this one right now.
Yep.
But what do you remember the most about that night? And I like to ask people that because there's always something in a traumatic experience or something that happens, like a soldier will tell you this, or somebody who goes through something traumatic. I'm going to say traumatic. It might not be that bad, but. What do you remember the most, if you could think of something?
If I remember them, what do I remember the most?
Anything that sticks out?
Probably, when it came crashing through the woods and she thought it was her dog and I told her it wasn't. Now, normally, if it was a deer or a bear, it would have took off because they would be just as scared of you as you were of it.
Absolutely.
It didn't take off. It stayed there. And even after the fact that we had gone down to the bottom and come back up, it was still out there along the parameter of that circle. Like, it didn't go anywhere. It stayed.
Now, let me ask you this question, because it probably felt safe that I would guess it knows the woods and it knows how far to stay away from people. And more than likely, that area, it knows people are around. It might not have known you were there. Do you feel like it was tracking your dogs?
I don't know what it was doing. I don't know, but I know Tucker was freaked out.
Okay.
And Tucker's normally not a dog that freaks out. He'll go for miles and he don't care. Like, every time I've ever gone hunting with her, he'll just go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he always comes back to wherever we let him go. We always have to go to him. He don't come to us, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So, yeah, and he wanted nothing to do with the top of that hill at all.
And so you did hear some sounds leading up to that, kind of like lower kind of sounds. I don't want to put any words in your mouth, but you kind of expressed that. Before you saw what you saw, how long had transpired between what you thought might be the vocals and the event where you actually saw?
Well, when we first got up there and we first let the dogs go, that was before the cops came, right?
Yeah.
So, and Guy was there with us at that point, and it
Sure.
was whatever. Like I said, it sounded kind of like a screech owl, like the yells, but it wasn't. It was a deeper. It wasn't
Yeah.
an owl. You knew it wasn't an owl,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And me and Michaela were both like, "What is that?" Guy's like, "I don't know. I never heard something like that." So then the cop came, and then it was probably. We had gone down to the bottom, I'd say probably like 10 or 15 minutes between the time we heard the hollers, because we had gone back up and walked out into the field and were yelling for him, for Tucker.
Sure.
Trying to get him to come back, because neither of the other two dogs would hunt.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I'd probably say like 10 or 15 minutes maybe before we had come back up to the top and went to the bathroom and flashed the light and saw that.
Are you certain there was only one?
Yeah, well, I don't know, but...
Is what you heard was one. So you didn't hear moving here and then moving here at the same time?
No.
The reason I ask is because a lot of times there will be, more than one together.
Yeah.
From what I hear, I haven't had a
But I mean,
sighting
like
myself.
I said, when we were sitting at the top, you could hear something walking the perimeter. So was there more than one? Could have been. I don't know.
Okay.
But I know that we heard that one coming in. It was no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. That was not a deer or a bear. I know. I hunt for years. I know
That's
what that
fascinating,
sounds like.
and it's hard to find people who will actually come out and say, I'm really thankful that you folks have done that. And do you know anybody else in the area that has had those experiences?
No.
Yeah. I'm not asking you on audio to tell me. I'm just wondering if you had any kind of... Okay.
I don't know. Not off the top of my head.
All right. Well, listen. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate this.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's go ahead and I'm going to figure out how to turn this off and work my own... There we go. We're done. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.